Howdy y'all, my name is Josh and welcome back to another Nitecore store video. And today let's take a look at two of our hardest hitting flashlights, both the P23i and the MH12 Pro. But which one of these medium sized flashlights are going to be the best? Let's go ahead and check it out. Alright, and now let's take a look at these two awesome lights. Looking at those crown crenulated bezels side by side, you can see they're both going to be decently aggressive, but the P23i is going to have those silicon nitride glass breakers, which are going to be inlaid in that stainless steel bezel. And now giving you all a look down the barrel of both of these lights, the P23i is going to have a luminous SFT70 LED, which is going to be a nice emitter that's going to have a cool white tone to it. And then the MH12 Pro is going to have a UHI 40 LED, which is going to have a smooth beam shape. However, that tint is still going to be pretty green. Both of these lights have a USB-C recharging port, with the P23i being right here, which is going to be a full silicon rubber boot, which you can just undo with your thumb like that in order to get to the USB-C port right there. And then for the MH12 Pro, it's also going to be silicon rubber. However, it's going to have this plastic coating on it right here to where it's a little bit easier to get undone and flip up like that in order to access the USB-C port. And now checking out the removable battery of both of these lights, the MH12 Pro is going to have this 53,000 milliamp hour 21700 size battery, which is going to have a common output, meaning that you can use this across different lights. And as well as that, the MH12 Pro is going to be able to take more than just this battery as well, meaning that it's going to have a decent bit of cross compatibility with other batteries. Now looking at the P23i, it's going to have an I-series battery, which is going to be proprietary to the I-series line and Nitecore more specifically. And so it's not my favorite in terms of you can only use I-series lights in the P23i, but apparently because there's going to be a positive and a negative end at both ends of the battery, it's going to be more durable overall. And so you kind of have to pick and choose your battles with these batteries. And not only are these going to have different batteries, but also different battery indication. Looking at the P23i, it's going to have a single monocolor light right here, which is going to flash whenever it gets lower on battery, which is not amazing, but I'd rather have it than not have it. Whereas if you look at the MH12 Pro, it's going to have the battery level and the output level right here, and it's just pretty hard to beat how intuitive this is. And now looking at the pocket clips that both of these lights come with, the P23i is going to be all right. You can see that lanyard hole right there, and it's going to be a little bit thicker, a little bit beefier. However, it's only going to be a one-way pocket clip, whereas if you look at the MH12 Pro, it's going to be a two-way pocket clip, allowing it to be a lot more flexible while still retaining that lanyard hole up there at the top. And so it's just going to be hands down going to the MH12 Pro here. And now comparing these tail caps back here, they're going to be decently similar in the fact that they both have a very big rubberized power button, and they both have those lanyard fins there. However, for the P23i, the entire UI is going to be housed back here, along with this mode pedal, which gives it instant access to strobe and turbo, and this is also how you change the output. Whereas for the MH12 Pro, it's going to be a little bit less intuitive, where you have to press the power button back here, and then flip it over in your hand in order to change it with the side switch. And then you have to hold it if you want it to strobe for a good 2 to 3 seconds. And so I definitely like the UI of the P23i more, as it's going to just be more straightforward and you don't have to change your grip mid-usage, but you can see how the tail switches are going to be similar enough and how the UIs are going to be different. And now let's compare the specs of these lights. I'm gonna go ahead and put them on screen, and just immediately, I love the moonlight coming from the MH12 Pro more, as it's only going to be 1 lumen, really squeezing your runtime out of that 21700, which is going to go for 650 hours, as compared to the 50 lumen ultra low coming from the P23i, which is only going to be going for 45 hours. And looking at the spacing between the brightness levels of these two lights, I'm gonna favor the P23i more, as it's going to be a lot less jarring whenever you switch into high and turbo, unlike the MH12 Pro. And that turbo and high is not going to make the light get as hot. There's going to be a lot more heat dissipation in this larger body, and so it's going to feel a lot more robust and a lot more professional. However, whenever it comes to run times, the MH12 Pro is just going to take it. If you look at the high 1200 lumen output coming from the MH12 Pro and then the high 1500 lumen output coming from the P23i, they're going to look more or less the same, especially from the increased candela coming from the MH12 Pro. And the fact that it can go for a whole 2 hours more, it's going to really sell it for me. And now popping up the rest of the specs on screen, the throw of both of these lights are going to be remarkably similar, as well as the candela is going to be decently close to each other as well, showing how there is going to be a similarity between these lights. The P23i is going to be slightly heavier at 6.6 ounces, but it is going to be more durable to boot. However, the MH12 Pro is going to be more lightweight at 5.4 ounces with the battery included, and it's going to be more compact and more lightweight. So as for my personal thoughts for this comparison, I think it's pretty straightforward. The MH12 Pro is going to be made for EDC. Everything from the UI to the overall build of it is just going to be screaming, please carry me in your pocket. Whereas the P23i is going to be more for tactical and stressful situations, especially coming down to that 2-button tail switch right there. It's going to be great for your instant strobe, for your instant turbo, keeping you safe as well with those glass breakers. Now, as for my personal pick in this showdown here, and I know that this might be a little bit controversial, is going to be the MH12 Pro. I love the UI and the new emitter. And for all of my tactical lights, I like a more floody beam shape. Now, if you do choose this EDC here, you're gonna have to deal with that green tint, and this light is gonna be getting pretty hot in your hands. However, the upsides of the runtime and this awesome UI, as well as that output and battery indicator, is gonna make up for it for me. And as for y'all who want a more tactical light, the P23i is going to have you covered with a very nice output and a very clean UI. However, that I-series battery and that less than stellar battery indicator can be a drawback for some people. Now that's just going to be my thoughts on this showdown here. If you have anything to add to this conversation, or if you think any of my analyses are just plain out wrong, please feel free to comment them down below. I would love to hear it. Well guys, sadly that's going to bring us here to the end of the video. I hope that you enjoyed watching, and thank you for sticking around, liking, and subscribing, and we will see you in the next one.